going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, along with Kristen. This is Flix Fix, and it's the brand new year. It's 2021. Kristen, how you doing?
It's a little into 2021.
It's a little into 2021.
Just a smidge.
Well, this is sort of to make up for we couldn't get you into the year-end podcast, you know.
Yeah.
Timing and scheduling, and
yeah.
Me being the last-minute Jones on everybody. Lucky enough to get 2 out of 3 of you. I do want to say, before we go into anything else, the same thing I said to Guapo, the same thing I said to Jake. Tail end of 2019, beginning of 2020, this channel had a big change. We all kind of collectively said mainstream WWE sucks. So Guapo and I started doing AEW stuff. I brought in Jake to do NXT stuff. And you and I basically said, well, we like talking about movies. Let's talk about movies.
It's more of a, I can't believe Kristen hasn't seen this movie, that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
Movie conversation.
But we took it and we made it into a brand new thing. So as I did with Jake, as I did with Guapo, I want to start off 2021 by saying thank you for coming on weird, wacky movie adventures with me and still being part of the channel, even though you told wrestling to go fuck itself.
Oh, thanks. That's all right. I did tell wrestling to go fuck itself for a while. Just for a little bit. We were just talking about before we started recording that I might give AEW a shot, but Spaz has knocked some of those feelings away.
I've safely protected you from the AEW bug.
By the way, he's like, by the way, they're super smug. He knows exactly how to make me not want to watch something.
I do. But some of the things that I've gotten you to watch so far for this show have been adventures, to say the least.
Yes, they have. Like when we watched Aliens, and when we watched the third Aliens, and he was like, what was it? It's like
Alien 3 is basically Shawshank Redemption?
Yeah.
And I have to keep admitting it live because I lost that recording, but I will not deny it.
Quote, lost that recording.
Oh, come on, that was a lot of fun. Like, halfway through we realized we'd basically watched different versions of the same movie. Whereas the alien comes out of a dog in one version and comes out of some weird, like, alien buffalo thing in the other version. But, I mean, I guess that sort of brings me to my first point. We decided to start doing movie reviews right around the time that we stopped being able to go to movies.
Yeah.
So that was
great.
I mean,
we were trying to do movies that just came out, and then it started being like, well, I haven't watched this movie, so we'll go do that instead.
And see, even in the middle, when there was a little, I mean, COVID, like, let's be real, like, it's the elephant in the room. COVID kicked us all in the ass.
Yep.
Nobody can do anything. Nobody can go anywhere. If you've got 10 or 12 different streaming services on your TV, you might be all right. We opened up sort of mid-year here in Ontario. I don't know what people in other places have done. We got to a point where we could open theaters a little bit. And first of all, they started showing like older movies. Like you could go out and see like classic Jurassic Park or classic Terminator or whatever, which I never did. But I did end up going out and I did end up seeing 2 movies. I don't really want to review Tenet because I don't really know what to say, because it's sort of got the Inception vibe to it, where you can't say anything about it without spoiling the whole movie.
Spoiling it?
Yeah, it's I don't know, you probably haven't seen it.
No, I haven't.
It's a totally new take on a time travel movie, because it's not time travel, it's time sliding. It's time working back to front, reverse, like watching yourself, but watching yourself in reverse, and how that affects the world. And it's very, very well done. Visually, it's beautiful. Obviously, Christopher Nolan knows his shit. But it would be a very, very hard movie for me to come up here and review. And the other one that I was able to see in the interim when the world looked like it might open up again was a movie that you and I actually previewed, which was New Mutants, which I thought was a lot of fun.
I did not get a chance to see New Mutants. I wanted to, and it just never happened.
I think because it's the only Marvel thing left that is going to stand on its own, because it was sort of like the last remnants of like Fox Marvel. I think whenever you do get a chance to see it, it might be a fun one to do, because it's so small scale, coming right after stuff like Infinity War and Endgame and all that type of thing. It's so small scale. It's such an encapsulated like A to B to C story. I think you'd like it. It does have a few of the horror movie elements that when we talked about it in the preview, I basically used it as hey, let's look at the scary people we could see in the future type thing. It's not quite that. The cast is great for what it is. Anya Taylor-Joy, Maisie Williams, can never think of the other people's names, but it's a lot of fun. I was happy just to get back to the theater, honestly. Like I don't know about you, but theater is my happy place. Like even if I go by myself. Like
yeah, I like going to the theater. Like it's just there's something about even if stuff because the big thing now is releasing it on simultaneously on a streaming thing.
Yeah.
There's something about going to the movie theater.
There's something about the event of going to the theater.
It makes me pay attention. If I'm at my own house, I have my phone out. I'm like doing whatever.
Yeah.
At the theater, you're sitting. You're like, this is what I'm doing.
I used to do it as like the lazy social thing. Like if I haven't seen anybody in a while, where we're gonna meet up somewhere, we're gonna grab a bite to eat, and we're gonna go catch X, usually the newest like Star Wars or Marvel or whatever is coming out, right? And I never used to say I always used to say that if I go to the movies, like who would go to the theater by themselves? Like that's a bit lame. But then there was a point in my life a couple years ago when there was way too many people living in this house. And I needed to get out.
And you're like, oh god, I need to
nobody did anything bad. I'm not here to vilify anybody, but it was just a case of like not enough elbow room type thing. So I got into the habit of going to work on Friday and looking up what movie was playing, whether it was a good movie, whether it was a shit movie, whether it was whatever. Because I'm lucky enough that there's a theater right around the corner from my work. And if I get off at 3:30, I would find the movie that's playing at like 4:30. I would grab myself a bite to eat. I would just go straight from work because from the work to the theater to my house is basically a straight line. So I'd go straight from work, straight to the theater, like go see the movie, like just show up in my grubby ass work clothes, catch the movie, have some fun, just enjoy, as you said, the event of going to the theater. And it completely helps you drop kick your brain into the weekend. It is the best thing ever. And actually, if it ends up being a stupid movie, it actually is even better. So I'm really missing the theater right now.
Is it still not open there?
No, nothing's open. We're back down to like essential groceries, and that's it. Like
we still have everything open. I think maybe they're doing it by a city-by-city basis as opposed to the state.
We were doing that, but Ontario got like super fucked, like super fucked by COVID, and they basically came out and said we're going to stop treating this by city and by region, and we're going to look at you as an entire province because as an entire province you guys basically suck. But when it was city by city, if anybody listening knows where Brampton, Ontario is, it's just a little bit outside Toronto, and of the entire province, we were one of the worst cities anyway. Because I live in a very culturally diverse area, is the politically correct way to say it, and people decided to have 200-300 person weddings because God was going to protect them.
Oh, great.
Yep.
We had something similar. We're a megachurch, like with over 200 members, like coming to the service.
Yep.
I was like, it's fine.
Yeah, we're starting to get the vaccines rolling into Ontario, and that's a whole other conversation. I actually kind of like listening to the vaccine conversation because I work in warehousing, which is sort of adjacent to logistics. So when they start talking about the dispersal and the arrival and the delivery stuff, it's like I can actually sink my teeth into that, and that's much more positive than listening to a death toll.
Yep.
But I was just saying, like, the people that decided to have a 200 or 300 person wedding because God's got their back. I'm like, okay, cool. You won't mind being on the last, like on the bottom of the vaccine list. I'm turning into that asshole. But yes, so basically, because of all the COVID stuff, I think it's sort of an anomaly that Hollywood basically put everything on pause for a year. And I think going into 2021, I think it's the opposite. I think everything that's supposed to roll out is going to roll out. They're just going to find different ways to get it to us. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of fun. I mean, it sucks that you can't go to the theater, but it also doesn't mean that we're waiting another year or so to talk about any new movies.
Yeah, and it's definitely affected some movies. Like, we're not going to do a full thing on Wonder Woman here. But did you notice the part, I think they did have to do, like, some reshoots or something?
Yeah.
The only way I can describe it, other than nobody was paying attention to the script.
Yeah.
There's a scene, I won't go too much into it just because we're not doing a full review and I don't want to do spoilers.
Right.
There's a scene, mid-ish way into the movie where they state they see fireworks somewhere and they're like, oh, it's the 4th of July. It's because it's the 4th of July.
Right.
But then by the end of the movie, it's snowing.
I think there is a bit of a flash forward. You're talking about like where she's just like all like happy and life's okay and whatever. I think we're supposed to believe that there is a little bit of a flash forward. I mean, it's no spoiler. Like a lot of movies end in a flash forward these days. It's interesting, and I'm going to talk about the HBO thing in a second because I got really happy about the HBO thing, and then I got really sad about the HBO thing. But as far as Wonder Woman, because it's something we have both seen, we're not going to spoil anything about the story, obviously, because there's going to be a fuck ton of people that haven't seen it yet. But are you as conflicted as I am, where it comes off, there are parts of it that come off really goofy. Like really goofy, really over the top, but also they moved it into the 80s. The whole thing is about it, like it being in the time of excess and everybody wanting more and more and more. So it's a goofy that makes sense, but like if any other movie was as goofy, I would not give them a pass. But also the movie is still built around Gal Gadot, who's fucking phenomenal. So I still love it. So it's like people ask me after I watch it, like, what do you think about it? I'm like, I'm very conflicted. I had a lot of fun, and I liked it, but I'm very conflicted.
Real quick and dirty summary: it's not as good as the first one.
Oh no,
no, it's still fun.
No, it is very. It does have the sort of accepted sequel level. What do you call plateau drop off, whatever you want to call it, but it's not. Like, a lot of people I know that watched it, like, I talked to my brother about it the other day, and
there were a lot of people that didn't like it. I thought it was fine.
It definitely felt completely different, but you're going to get that with the time jump as well. Like, it's going to be jarring when there's a time jump.
It's the 80s. Everything's a little goofy in the 80s.
But that's what I mean, though. Like, all the, the people that are rich are really rich, and the people that have big hair have really big hair, and the people that are loud are really loud. But that's, A, it's appropriate. B, it's a caricature of that time space or whatever you want to say. C, it goes with the theme of the movie, and the whole theme of the movie is basically a 2-hour, be careful what you wish for, which I'm sure most people can get from the trailer, so that's not really a thing. But yeah, she grounds the movie. I think her performance in it is phenomenal. Her performance is as good as the first movie, even though the movie that's happening around her isn't nearly as good. But I could have done. I mean, it was part of the plot, but I could have done without the return of Chris.
Chris Pine.
Yeah, because he was back to be like, "Look at me, I'm a fish out of water," for 2 hours.
Well, I mean, she was the fish out of water in the first one.
Yeah, but she came in strong as the fish out of water. Like she came from a predominant, and I'm not making this a sexist thing, but I'm just trying to get my thoughts together. She came from a predominantly like, Themyscira, where the women have the power and all that sort of thing, and looked at the regular world and was like, what do you mean I can't do that here? Watch me. Like the No Man's Land scene is like the front page spread of that movie, and they did the whole, well, it's No Man's Land, well, she's no man, and she went off and did it. Like, her fish out of water thing didn't make her look like an idiot. His fish out of water thing made him look like an idiot, but it worked for the comedy of it, because I think the, what do you call it, the chemistry between the two of them is actually better in this one than it was in the first one, because they're just sort of on the same trip in the first one. This one, they've been away, he's been away, they're both back, and I don't know, it worked in a movie that I could nitpick a lot of other things if I wanted to. Some of the action is not great.
I liked the villain in this one. I thought
the
villain was
Pedro Pascal
very well.
And it's so funny. Are you watching The Mandalorian?
No, not yet. I know as a Star Wars buff that's like sacrilegious, but I have not watched The Mandalorian yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to review Mandalorian here. What I will say, as a side note for anybody listening, if you do want to see somebody who is reviewing The Mandalorian, head over to our friend OKFabe's YouTube channel. I think he did, I don't know if he did the first season, but he did reviews for every episode of the second season, and they're really good. They're really worth checking out. Connor knows his shit, so free plug to him, and if you do go over there, tell him Spaz sent you, and it'll all be good. But no, Pedro Pascal is the Mandalorian in The Mandalorian.
Oh, that's fun.
So to see his face on TV rather than just hear him talking from behind a mask for 2 whole seasons was a bit of a thing. And he said point blank, like he said he wanted to get a little bit of the crazy Nicolas Cage vibe, because
I could see that.
As soon as you sign on for a Nicolas Cage type story, even if it's a normal story, you know there's going to be a little bit of crazy Nicolas Cage. And he said point blank, he's like, I want to capture a little bit of that. Side note again, for something I'm going to start checking out really, really soon. You have Netflix, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Have you seen the Nicolas Cage thing on there? He's doing the history of swear words.
I have not seen that.
I haven't watched an episode yet, but it looks really, really good. And it's not like a parody. It's like they're literally he's got a bunch of people together, and historians and linguists and all this sort of thing, and they're doing like the history of, like, each episode is a word. Like the first episode is obviously on fuck, because fuck goes with everything, and I think it's awesome. But I'm almost more intrigued by the idea of Nicolas Cage doing a show about swearing than I am to actually watch a show about Nicolas Cage doing a show about swearing. But yeah, so Wonder Woman. Overall, general thoughts, recommend, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Just don't go in with like the big majestic expectations of the first movie, because it's not that.
Yeah.
You don't get the no man's land scene that's really awesome in this one.
And some of the fight scenes in this one, in my opinion at least, are pretty janky compared to the first one.
Also, I will tell you, because everybody has seen Cheetah, the CG of hers is not amazing.
See,
it's fine.
I don't mind it.
She's moving around enough.
Yeah, that you don't get a good look at it.
That you don't get a huge look at it. So.
Which is, you know what it is, and somebody said this to me way before it actually came out, and I think it was CinemaSins, so yes, check it off your Spaz Phoenix bucket list. Spaz Phoenix mentioned CinemaSins. Somebody in the comments doesn't like that I mentioned CinemaSins. Get over it. New year, same me. They said that Wonder Woman was going to get a free pass on the Cheetah graphics because of Cats from last year. Because Cats from last year
I didn't see Cats.
Is an abomination. Is an absolute abomination.
I assume it is.
No, like any perceived notion that you got of it, even like from watching a trailer, is not even close. Like it's another collection of like awesome talent in a movie that just like, what gun was at your head when you signed on for this type thing. But they were saying like, because the effects on that were so bad, and then we had the whole like Sonic debacle last year as well. That everybody would give Cheetah a free pass, and you know what? By comparison, she's not nearly as bad. So
no,
and
it's just a little jarring from.
Maybe a slight spoiler to say she may be back in another movie.
Oh yeah, they definitely left the room open for that.
Well, they left everything. I don't know if I want to say this or not. I don't know how I feel about the ending. The ending was a little bit Doctor Strange. I kind of talked you into stopping what you're doing. A little bit of anticlimax there, but it was a good feeling, and it went with the whole message of, be careful what you wish for, and, Diana Prince, the way Gal Gadot plays her off is this, I'm not going to beat you up, I'm just going to put a lot of feeling in it, and I'm just going to hope that you do the right thing. And I'm like, from a lot of other people, this is why I give her a lot of credit. From a lot of other people, what Gal Gadot does in these movies would come off really cheesy, and there's a genuine nature to what she does and what she puts into this character that I think saves it in a lot of ways. Now, I do want to say that much like trying to watch NXT on a Wednesday night, it does suck to be in Canada sometimes. Because you and I talked about this a while ago, HBO made this big announcement that all the Warner Brothers movies that are on the 2021 slate, from the DC stuff to Godzilla vs. Kong to Dune to the Fantastic Four movies, to the Fast and the Furious movies, rather. Everything that Warner Brothers is releasing in 2021 is going to simultaneously be released on HBO Max.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't get HBO Max in Canada. We have Crave, and through Crave, I am able to access HBO content. The HBO content that I am able to access through Crave here in Canada, because it sucks up here sometimes, does not include this new deal. Like, just flat out doesn't. So I will still, like, stuff will still be available up here. Like, I think I'll have to buy it on, like, PlayStation Store or whatever the case may be. Specifically one that we're going to talk about later on. But I just think it's a shit deal. I think they have to figure out solutions for this worldwide problem that help the whole world and not just the States.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know deals are different everywhere. You know, somebody's Australian Netflix is different than my Canadian Netflix is different than your American Netflix, and
I'm sure they're working on it. They release it out.
Yeah. Well, because Disney tried the simultaneous release with Mulan, but you had to basically pay the price of a DVD for it. So it's like, oh, you gave it to us at the same time as it would have been in the theater, but we still had to pay for it on top of our thing. And everybody was like, kind of, yeah, we figured there would be an extra fee. And then HBO came along and said, nah, you're going to get it for free. It's going to come out at the same time as the theater. You're going to get it for free just for the cost of your subscription. And then
you're also paying more for HBO Max than you are for Disney Plus.
I believe so. And I think, like, they're not owned by each other, but I think Warner Brothers and DC have a very similar relationship with HBO Max, as obviously Marvel, being part of Disney, is on Disney Plus. One of the things I'm looking forward to, if we get it up here, is the Snyder Cut thing that they're doing with Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple of other. There's Batman shows coming off the back of the Robert Pattinson Batman movie. And that's going to be on HBO Max, so I think them giving away a bunch of free movies was a way to sort of solidify that deal, get HBO Max a bunch more subscribers, and sort of go from there. It's interesting to watch how it all goes out, because, like, up until last year, you wouldn't have had to come up with a completely, how do you want to say it, complete theater substitute.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got to work for everybody, because everybody was sort of thinking, hey, we're all getting, you know, the world sucks right now, but we're all getting Wonder Woman 2 as a Christmas present, and then most of us didn't. But I mean, like I say, still got it from PlayStation Store, and still watched it, and still have a very conflicted opinion of it, but at least there's something that you and I have both seen.
Yes.
But looking back on some of the stuff that we did do instead of current movies last year, we did the Godzilla trilogy. We did Godzilla, we did King Kong, we did King of the Monsters. Over the course of those three movies, I think one of the things we decided is basically we don't like kids. Like, kids are shit in movies. One of the ones coming out next year is Godzilla vs. Kong. So, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. Like, remember when we were getting ready for Infinity War? And we're like, we were sort of making wish lists of, like, what we wanted to see. Like, I wanted to see Tony and Doctor Strange and Star-Lord in a scene together just because they're the three assholes and whatever. And I wanted to see Drax fight Hulk because I'm a simple person, and they're the two big green guys. I don't know what to expect from Godzilla vs. Kong. Like,
same.
Really? I was really hoping. I was really hoping you could have something more intriguing to say than that.
Travis in here.
I
could text him. Hang on.
Okay.
Keep talking.
I don't know, a lot of, like, we're going to do a bit of a rundown at the end of this pod whenever we decide this pod is over, just, like, what's coming next year, and so much of what's coming this year is sequels, reboots, or, like, the next part of series that I think everything's got a block that you can build off of, but at the same time, I think there's a lot of opportunities for things that people are going to expect what's going to happen and get something totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Godzilla vs. Kong is just going to be the two big monsters crashing into each other. But, I mean, Godzilla King of the Monsters was really... It was, you watch that movie and it's Godzilla versus the big three-headed fucking thing, but it actually ended up... Ghidorah, there we go. See, you know more than me. You're doing all right.
Mm-hmm.
Godzilla versus Ghidorah.
I don't know what my expectations are for Godzilla vs. Kong, though.
The only thing I can expect, and this is sort of what I'm trying to wrap my head around to, is it was built up as basically Godzilla versus Ghidorah, but what you ended up getting was Godzilla and a couple of friends versus Ghidorah and
I think
that's
how it always is.
Right. Well, I'm looking at somebody that's only seen the Americanized versions of the movies. Look at the Matthew Broderick Godzilla, where Godzilla is literally the only creature until the little baby raptor-looking things are born. But I think you could do that same thing again. You got Godzilla and all his followers from the end of that movie versus when we saw King Kong or Skull Island or whatever, you saw that he's got a whole host of creatures there as well. I think you have sort of a mini, Civil War type situation there. Because at this point, now that they've established that there's more than one monster on each side, if you don't have this all-out, mini army versus mini army thing, and it's just those two, even though they're the ones in the name, I think that comes off as a little flat.
Mm-hmm.
And we said it at the time as well, any human characters that they carry over into this are secondary.
That's true.
Maybe Loki.
I tried to bring Travis in here to get his opinion. He
says no.
Well, no, he didn't say no. I'm betting $10 if I walk into the bedroom, he's snoring right now, but he's asleep. It takes him 10 seconds to fall asleep.
I saw a fake Facebook ad today for a thing that you can stick to somebody's forehead that will give them a mild shock if they snore. And the really, really bad part of my brain wanted to think it was real. Social media.
I bet you he's asleep.
Social media is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. I don't know what else really. We did the Alien movies.
Hang on, do you want me to? I could wake him up.
Oh God.
This is happening now. I'm gonna call him on the. Hang on. This is what we're doing. We're gonna harass my boyfriend.
This is already the best podcast of the year.
We'll see. He may have it on silent.
Hey, babe.
Did I wake you up?
A little bit.
Can you come in here, please?
Yeah.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Okay, this is the first for my channel. I don't know. We've had you on here. We've had you moving furniture. We've had you in the car. Now we've got you literally with your boyfriend on call.
Yes.
This is the first.
He didn't answer my text.
Guys, this is what you can expect in 2021 from us. We're going to be fucking around a lot.
He didn't answer my text message, and I didn't want to get up in the middle of the thing, so I decided to call him. I was only 50% sure he would answer.
This is awesome. I kind of wish this.
Pants on.
I kind of wish this was live. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of wish this was live.
Hey babe, I'm gonna hand you this real quick.
Okay.
Give Spaz your expectations of Godzilla vs. Kong. Hang on, we have to switch.
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Travis, welcome to the podcast, buddy.
Oh, hey.
I was just saying I kind of wish this was live. No, we were just looking forward to next year and kind of, we've seen Godzilla, we've seen Skull Island, we've seen King of the Monsters, so what do we expect from Godzilla vs. Kong other than Godzilla vs. Kong running into each other?
Yeah, we've seen nothing about it other than the title screen.
Other than fan-made trailers.
Yeah.
Because those are
nothing
super accurate.
Official. We've seen the title screen. The title screen looks cool. Big blocky letters and everything.
Yeah, two big heads.
That's it.
Two big heads.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyways, yeah, that's what she woke you up for sure.
Oh boy. I was nice and warm in bed.
Oh, sorry.
Holy crap, this is great. Anyway,
Spaz already says it's the best podcast of the year just for calling you into the room.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's definitely a thing. I kind of halfway thought she was kidding, and then I heard the phone ringing, and now now you're part of the podcast. It's going out on Tuesday.
Oh boy.
Anyway, so we brought you in as the token Godzilla vs Kong guy, but now that you're here, give me one thing you're looking forward to in movies next year.
Should I be concerned?
I have no idea what even movies are coming out next year.
All right, fair enough. I think we've
Because everything's been delayed last year. Like,
Yeah.
are we gonna get Black Widow? I don't
We're
know.
getting it. We're getting it. Don't know what it's gonna come out on. I just finished talking with Kristen a second ago about how the HBO thing doesn't really help us in Canada, like where all the live drops were happening, like Wonder Woman, etc. Yeah, we got fucked on that deal.
Oh boy.
I don't know. There's a lot of Marvel Marvel TV stuff. I'm looking forward to WandaVision next week. Kristen, we haven't announced this on the show yet, but I've already sucked Kristen into doing WandaVision reviews with me starting next weekend. So,
All right.
yeah, Justice League Snyder Cut's coming out, a bunch of reboots, a bunch of sequels, a bunch of Part 6s and Part 7s. Anyways, so yeah, that's
we're
what
actually getting Snyder Cut this year.
we are. It's going to HBO. You guys will get it. I will get it whenever they decide to give it to Canada.
Well, hey, get a vaccine. Come down.
Yeah. Oh, we just had the vaccine conversation. I live in a hotspot in the middle of Ontario, so I don't think that's happening right now.
Ah, dang.
But yeah, so thanks for being woken up and popping onto the show for a second. We're gonna actually get you on here for something at some point, probably Godzilla vs Kong, and I'm gonna steal Kristen back from you.
Alrighty. Thanks for having me.
Have a good one, buddy. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Night, babe.
Night.
Aw, everybody in the chat, aw with me. So I just announced that you and I are doing WandaVision reviews starting next week. If you missed that.
Oh, okay.
So that's going to be a thing. Streaming and like short-lived miniseries TV shows things. I guess that'll be the next thing we get onto. Like that's going
Yeah.
to be the theme. Like Marvel's even come out and said, like with everything that's going on in the world right now, we're just going to focus on our straight TV stuff. Next year, I don't know in what order they're all in. I used to know what order they were in, but Disney Plus is giving us WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, the What If animated series, and Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm.
They just announced that Loki is the only D+ series so far set for a second season. So it's going to be more than one season. It's going to take us right to Thor: Love and Thunder, and then go more after that, because he's a multiverse thing. So like he can do most of his show without affecting the rest of
Yeah.
everything else. I'm really looking forward to it, honestly. I just watched the what do you call it? The Marvel Legends of the Movies thing that Disney Plus put out. For anybody that's looking for recommendations that wants to get hyped up for WandaVision next week, they basically did one on Wanda and one on Loki, on Vision. They're just little 5-minute clips that are like the entire MCU so far, but like through that one character's perspective. They're kind of neat. They're like 5 minutes long, and they're worth having a look. The What If animated series is like the alternate universe shit. Mandalorian has a spin-off called The Book of Boba Fett coming in like December. Justice League Snyder Cut. I don't know what to say, because like I say, the HBO thing, I don't know how it's gonna drop in Canada. I would do, like, because they're breaking the Snyder Cut into like 4 pieces. I would think about reviewing them, but that's only if I get them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we do a lot of
I'm
Marvel.
interested in all that stuff. I mean, I thought Justice League was fine. Like, it wasn't the most amazing thing, but I thought it was fine. But it's also Joss Whedon, and I like Joss Whedon. The ones that Schneider did, you know, a la Batman versus Superman, I did not like. So
I don't know. I think you and I spoke about this last year briefly. I I don't necessarily think that this is going to blow us all away. I just think that all the activity around this and how we got here and how the fans rallied and whatever, and the fact that because the fans rallied, there's a movie out there that already exists that a studio gave enough money to completely go and recreate that movie. I think that as a thing will be interesting, far above and beyond like what the movie actually is. As a functional, it's the same as, it's a new thing. It's the same as what we're talking about, like the simultaneous releases to streaming because we can't go to the theaters. It's a new thing. Let's see how they do it and whatever. But I mean, you and I started doing the movie reviews, talking about a lot of Marvel. Of all the shows we know about so far, do you have any particular one that you're looking forward to more than the others?
I'm interested in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, probably the most, because I think their dynamic, even the small level of dynamic that they got in the movies, is funny and interesting.
And I think even though Bucky's like a super soldier with a metal arm, and even though the other one's a guy that like basically is a flying Iron Man, which doesn't make sense because Iron Man also flew, like they're still the most human characters. Like, WandaVision's going to be, like, world-bendy, trippy shit. Loki's going through all kinds of multiverses and whatever. Until we get to Hawkeye and, like, Little Hawkeye, Falcon and Winter Soldier's got to be, like, the most grounded, I guess would be the way to say it. And the animated What If thing is going to be
That'll be interesting. And I think it's the last thing that Chadwick Boseman was in.
Yep. Oh man, we could have a whole separate.
What if he became Star-Lord instead?
Yeah. So that'll be rough. We got to.
It'll be rough. I'm excited for it though. The What If thing is interesting just because it's animated.
Yeah, animation gives it a whole new layer of possibility. I'm not gonna lie. Even though apparently Walking Dead fell off a cliff, I'm still a big zombie fan. I was sold on this initially by the fact that I know that there's a Zombie Avengers episode.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I think the first one that they've announced is what if, what's her name? Can't think of her name. Captain America's girlfriend.
Oh, I just had it, and then you asked.
Peggy Carter.
Yes.
What if Peggy Carter got the super soldier serum and Tony Stark's dad had given Steve Rogers an early version of the Iron Man suit, so that she would be Captain Britain and he would be like the Iron Soldier or whatever. Which is, I guess it's a thing. I guess it's for those people.
I'd be interested to see it and do it based on that. I'm not immediately turned off by any of these ideas. They're exciting. I think they could be good. I think they could also go poorly, but that's the whole manner of what if.
I was gonna say, like, that's where it's gonna kind of get a free pass though, because even if one episode completely falls off the rails, you know the next episode is gonna be a completely different. It's gonna be a completely different what if. So it's not like you have to worry about a bad story carrying on.
Exactly. And there's just so many possibilities that you could go towards.
Yeah. I mean, the whole like we didn't do a second video after it, but like when Disney did their like stockholder meeting that basically became like a mini online Comic-Con, and they announced like 20 new Marvel properties and like 30 new Star Wars properties, and I can tell you right now, little spoiler for Mandalorian, I could do without Sasha Banks being in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine.
She doesn't contribute anything.
Well, not to you.
No, like, no, I'm not.
It'll be interesting that I'm like, oh, I know that person.
No, like, not. I'm not even saying, because I don't like Sasha Banks, because I do think she's kind of useless. But, like, they created a useless character for her as well. Like, there's a bunch of Mandalorians, and whenever these three get together, she's just, like, number 3. So it's literally a why are you here? Let alone that you're somebody that I don't like. But like you don't even have if we were talking in wrestling talk, like you don't even have a kayfabe reason to be here. So that's kind of a bummer. But I mean Rosario Dawson is really good in it. I'm not going to spoil the season 2 finale because it's kind of phenomenal. Giancarlo Esposito as the main villain of the first 2 seasons is really good. I'm just going to reiterate for anybody that's listening, go check out OKFabe. He's articulated way better than I am right now. How good Mandalorian's been, and he's just a good guy in general. You should go check him out. Last but not least, I guess it's the only real way we can wrap this up, unless you've got something else you want to hit on.
Nah.
I've sort of done a short. We knew going into this pod that it was kind of going to be a ramble, so thank you for joining me for the ramble. For next week, there may or may
I
not.
to make it interesting. I dragged Travis out of bed.
That was interesting. That was the first time my podcast has ever kidnapped anybody.
Yep. I didn't kidnap him. I asked him to come in here. I woke him up. I did wake him up.
Those are 2 or 3 different
things. Doesn't have to work tomorrow. It's fine.
I mean, see, normally I would love to say that I don't have to work tomorrow, but really work is the only thing keeping me occupied other than doing this old podcast thing.
I have to work tomorrow.
Next week for sure we're going to start WandaVision, but also potentially totally up to scheduling and whatnot. Possibly the end of the Joker trilogy.
Yeah,
possibly not.
We will definitely do it. Guys, we were going to do it sooner, and then the day we were supposed to do it, I messaged Spaz. I was like, I can't. I'm too sad today. Like, we had a lot of dogs we had to put down that day. Like, it was just like the day that everybody decided to come euthanize their dog.
Jesus.
At the vet clinic, and so I'd been carrying more than one dead dog. And I was like,
I was gonna say I think you literally.
Watch this, it's gonna be bad.
I think you literally messaged me back. You're like, I just carried out 2 dead dogs. I'm like, don't watch Joker today. Don't do it. But on the upside, it means you may get 2 episodes of Flix Fix coming off of next weekend. Because definitely, let's say definitely WandaVision, potentially Joker. The WandaVision episodes, if they're anything like the Mandalorian episodes, I mean, they're totally different properties, I get it, but they're both Disney Plus productions. Mandalorian episodes usually fly by pretty quick. Probably not as much to dig into as a full movie review, so those could potentially be shorter. But, I mean, those are the famous last words on this show. Joker will be a long conversation when it happens, because there's a lot of real world stuff we can dig into. There's a lot of storyline stuff we can dig into. I'm going to take 10 minutes just to say that Joaquin Phoenix is awesome. It's going to happen. There's your preview. But on a much lighter note, the last thing I did before we sat down to record tonight was I went through I basically Googled what's coming out in 2021. And I made a short list of sort of what I think are even the relevant ones, even if they're not stuff that I listen to. I'm going to say a movie title, and if you give a shit, we'll put 5 seconds of conversation into it, and if neither one of us gives a shit, then we will skip. Deal?
Okay. Got it.
007, No Time to Die. Don't care. The Suicide Reboot by James Gunn.
Yes.
Looks like it could be fun.
Yes, that looks like it'll be real fun.
Lots of actors.
They're gonna kill off a lot of people.
Have you seen the photos of John Cena's character, like with the bright blue and bright yellow and the weird helmet that doesn't look like it fits?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in that movie. Like Michael Rooker is in that movie. Michael Rooker is Merle from Walking Dead. He's Yondu from Guardians. I think Viola Davis is back. It looks like it's going to be like intentional awesome stupidity. I mean, James Gunn, if James Gunn's presence in the Marvel universe is anything to go by, this is going to be absolutely bombastic. I mean,
Suicide Squad was basically trying to rip off what he was doing in Guardians of the Galaxy anyways.
Yeah, but Margot Robbie, though. Just saying. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. I don't really care, but Matrix 4?
Matrix 4.
Okay, fair enough. We've already talked about it a lot, but Black Widow, we're starting off Phase 4 with a prequel, which is kind of weird. Give Scarlett Johansson one last shot. Apparently we're going to meet the new Black Widow. It's got a lot of tie-ins. It's going to be a lot of fun. Go back to any other Marvel conversation we've had in any other pod. I think we've already kind of talked that one to death. I don't have any information for this one, but just on theory alone, they're rebooting the Mortal Kombat movie series.
Wait, what?
They're rebooting Mortal Kombat.
I mean, it's had enough time to sit and wallow, so, I mean, why not?
I don't hate the first one. The second one is laughably bad.
Maybe a third one will be even worse.
No, the reboot, like starting from scratch, like scrapping the old ones, doing it. In like 2020, 2021 production value and all that kind of thing, it could be like the most expensive jump the shark thing ever, or it could be awesome. I'm not particularly a gamer, so I'm just looking at, I liked the other movie, so this could be even better. Couldn't give an absolute shit, but Mission Impossible 7.
Mission Impossible, nah.
No. Okay, one that I'm really excited about because I grew up on the original movie when I was a kid. The final the long-awaited sequel to Top Gun. It's called Top Gun Maverick.
That'll be fun.
I'm super excited. Top Gun is awesome. I can throw on Top Gun today. Like, I grew up with my dad loving the movie. Every time we got a new sound system for the TV, that was the movie that we used to test the sound system, because not only the aerial stuff, but the soundtrack is awesome. And it looks genuinely good from the first previews that I've seen. The Eternals is another Marvel thing.
I'll probably watch it, but I don't know anything about it. I think everything we've talked about it is like, that's not even close to right.
Yeah, I think
is what I've heard from looking at our comment sections.
I think the last time we did a Comic-Con thing, before the ongoing global health situation happened, I think I brought this up to you at the time, hoping that you would know something else about it. We do know the big major news about it is that Angelina Jolie and the guy from Game of Thrones are both in it. So You have my interest. Like, Angelina Jolie is one of those people that's like, I'll go watch it if she's in it, because that doesn't mean it'll be good, but that means I'm intrigued, because she's one of those actresses for me. And now, before, when we did the other Comic-Con thing, before, I hadn't seen Game of Thrones, so now that I've seen Game of Thrones and I know that actor a little bit more, even though I can't think of his name right now, sure, like, let's see what it is. Marvel has like 21 movies of credit built up in the bank with me, so they're gonna have to fail pretty hard for me to consider it a fail.
Mm-hmm.
Godzilla vs. Kong, we already talked about with Travis. Fast 9.
I like that we did that whole shuffle the headphones thing just for him to be like, I have no idea.
Well, also you woke him up. Fast 9.
He was more awake by that point.
Fast 9, I'm going to say this. The Fast movies at this particular point are just big, dumb fun, and I love big, dumb fun. They've taken a huge collection of actors already and added John Cena.
If somebody else wants to go see it, I will go see it.
Yeah. I don't know. Big dumb fun. At this point, it's going to be like, what the fuck are they doing? But like in the best way possible. I'm not trying to make a bad pun here, but it's kind of like watching a car crash, watching these movies now.
Mm-hmm.
I think in one of the previews, Vin Diesel has like some special gloves and he's able to catch a car. So like, why the fuck not? I don't know.
Okay.
Morbius, I'm really intrigued by. A lot of other people are already predicting it to be shit.
I have not heard of that. Hang on.
The Morbius movie with, what's his name, Jared Leto?
I have not heard of this.
You and I have literally talked about Morbius.
Have we?
We talked, because when we did...
It's a Marvel thing.
It is. It's a Marvel, it's in the Spider-Verse. It's being done by Sony. We talked about it last year.
I don't remember anything about this.
We had a conversation about vampire versus vampire with like Morbius and Blade.
I think you're lying.
I'm not. Okay. Go back to
that happened.
Go back to the episode that was called Previewing New Mutants and discussing darker characters and tones in the Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward, or whatever.
It's completely slim. I got nothing for you, buddy.
That's fair.
It's Marvel, so I'll probably watch it.
Yeah, it's vampires in Marvel, so there's a double win for me. It's in the Spider-Verse, which means he's eventually going to be interacting with the Tom Holland Spider-Man and the Tom Hardy Venom. And the next guy that we're going to talk about is the Woody Harrelson Carnage in Venom, Let There Be Carnage. I'm really looking forward to this. I think Venom...
I didn't see the first Venom. So.
I think Sony knocked Venom out of the park. I think Tom Hardy as the Venom character. Tom Hardy as the character that I got introduced to Venom as So like Robert Downey Jr. for Iron Man for me. Knocked it out of the park. I think the effects are so different from anything else that Marvel, like MCU Marvel, has done, and it's just really, really cool. Like the anti-hero vibes are off the chart. I would suggest going and seeing it. I would sit down with you and do a review of Venom because it's a lot of it's another one where it's like ridiculous, but I'm here for the ridiculousness. I'm sure this is definitely not in your wheelhouse, but definitely in my wheelhouse. Spiral from the Book of Saw.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pass on that.
Basically, Chris Rock is making his own movie that exists in the Saw universe.
Yep, going to go ahead and pass.
That's the selling point for me.
Nothing about that is appealing to me.
You don't like Chris Rock?
Not one single word.
You don't like Chris Rock? Come on now.
No, not really.
Really? Okay, fair enough. I think Samuel L. Jackson's in it too, so we can get a little bit of Marvel crossover there. I'm gonna be reviewing that one by myself, I think. Going back to the Marvel shit once again, we got Shang-Chi, which you've told me about, but I still don't have a clue.
I do remember talking about that, but I had to go look it up.
Because you traced it back. I think you managed to somewhat trace it back to Iron Fist because we were already having a conversation about how mad you were about Iron Fist.
Still am. It's been years. Still.
We're reaching the other thing I should say, and it's more of a speculation than anything that's happening this year, but the no compete whatever clauses that Marvel had with Netflix are all starting to expire in the next year or so. So the Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Punisher.
They can try them again.
They can try them again. They can bring those actors back to play those characters as part of the MCU.
And make them better, hopefully. Couldn't make some of them any worse.
Oh, I don't think that's fair. Jessica Jones was good.
Jessica Jones was good.
Punisher was really good.
With each one, they got progressively less good. Like, it started with Daredevil, which was good, and Jessica Jones was good. And then
Punisher.
Luke Cage was, like, good partway through it.
Luke Cage was all pretty much one note, though.
And Iron Fist was just not great. And then it went back up again with Defenders, but not by, like, a whole lot.
I like the Defenders thing. I think Luke Cage is one of those characters that's fine as the member of a team, not necessarily on his own. I mean, I didn't know how bad Iron Fist was because I don't have anything to compare it to.
It was so bad.
Genuinely, I'm a fan of what the hell's his name? John Bernthal in general, so I'm a little bit biased. But I do think if you look at Marvel as like a bigger scope than just the MCU, I think John Bernthal as Punisher was one of the best castings they've ever done. I would say maybe top 5. I think if you bring John Bernthal's Punisher in, especially when you're getting, like we said before last year, the darker characters like Ghost Rider and Blade, and if you bring in Punisher and all those types of things, have all the like asshole characters. Even if you want to do, like, because it's been confirmed now as well that Deadpool is going to be part of the MCU, do like Punisher and Deadpool or some weird team up like that. I think it would be amazing. But we're talking about this because I don't think either one of us has anything to say about Shang-Chi, which is kind of unfortunate. But coming off of that conversation, they might be bringing back Daredevil as early as Spider-Man 3, but only in the sense that he'll be his lawyer at some point, because he was outed at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home as being Spider-Man. The last two aren't comic book. I've never seen the original, so I don't know how excited to be about this, but apparently they're doing a remake of Candyman.
I never saw the original.
Me neither. Apparently it's really good. Apparently it's really fucked up. A lot of people have said, "Hey Spaz, you'll like it," which in translation means it's pretty fucked up. So it's like, thanks to all of you.
Great.
And they're doing a sequel to A Quiet Place. And I really liked A Quiet Place. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I heard it was really good. I almost went and watched that one.
Yeah. I would say it is tense, but it's not scary. I think you'd do good in it. And it's a very loose recommendation from me, but I think you would like it. And the way, like, the whole thing is, they can hear you because you have to stay quiet, right? but like the way, like from a cosmetic, like putting a movie together point of view, the way they play with the quiet is really phenomenal. To the point where it's not a good thing, but like I could hear the movie in the next theater with the way that this movie plays with silence. It's really good. I'm really, really intrigued by a sequel, but there's a lot for another year where I might not necessarily be able to go to the theaters. There's a lot of movies coming out, and I'm gonna watch them one way or another. Some of them we'll review. Some of them I'll throw on at the end. We'll review like Venom or something like that, and at the end I'll be like, hey, I saw that Spiral from the Book of Saw movie, and it was really good. Kristen's never gonna see it, but it gets a review from me. Hey. Anyways, but that's it. We've rambled. This is the cursory. We didn't get to do a year-end pod, so we did a year beginning pod.
Yep.
So thanks for coming along for the ride for another year. It's going to be good. WandaVision is going to almost ensure that we're doing weekly shit for a while, so that's going to be good. And yeah, tell people where to find you if they don't already know.
You can find me on Twitter at BlackCatFeline. I also have an Instagram that I don't use.
You don't
by
really
the same name.
You don't really use Twitter that much either. Let's be fair.
That's true. Let's be completely honest.
And you know where to find me.
If you tweet at me, I will talk to you.
That's not true either.
If you're not Spaz, if you tweet at me, I'll talk to you.
You tweeted me like once in the past 10 years, and you're like, hey guys, let's make Spaz review The Bed That Eats.
The Bed That Eats People. And yes, that should still be a thing.
No, it should not be. Oh, we should also say, after Joker, the next trilogy that we're thinking about
is The Bed That Eats People.
No, hard no. Like, hard no.
You can watch it for free on YouTube.
If we're watching The Bed That Eats People, then we're going to review Spiral from the Book of Saw.
I mean, I might be willing to make that exception.
Oh, dear. But no, in all seriousness, the next trilogy of movies that we are looking at doing is... It has an actual name that I've looked up a million times. I can never remember, but it's the Unbreakable Split Glass trilogy. Because you haven't... I didn't know this until we talked about it a second ago. You haven't seen any of them.
None of them. Nope.
So this is going to be really, really good. We got Bruce Willis and James McAvoy and Samuel L. Jackson again. So, hey, it's going to be a good time. Anyways, all that being said, go bug Kristen on Twitter, on Instagram, and you guys know where to find me, or you wouldn't be here. I've been Kristen. Fuck me, I did it again.
No, you haven't. You've not been Kristen.
I've been Spaz. She's been Kristen. It's very tired in here.
Also, Travis was here.
Yeah, that was Travis. This is a shambles now. I've been Spaz. She's been Kristen. She also kidnapped Travis. This has been Flix Fix. Welcome to 2021. Subscribe up there. Talk down there. Start a conversation. Keep all of these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, me and Kristen are out of here. Bye, guys.
You can't kidnap your own boyfriend. It's fine.